All right, let's wrap up part 2 of our series we're calling Slaying the Dragon. If you have a Bible, in Mark chapter 5, I just want to show you, want to close it out with the guy who's doing everything right. And God has asked him to go there, and going there means getting Jesus to do something for him. The situation is very grave. Mark chapter 5, beginning in verse 21, talks about how Jesus was in town, and one of the synagogue rulers, religious man, Jairus, came there, and seeing Jesus, he fell at his feet. Verse 22, verse 23, he pleaded earnestly with him. This grabs you by the heart if you're a dad. My little daughter is dying. Please come and put your hands on her so that she will be healed and live. Verse 24, a positive response. So Jesus went with him. Okay, so he's got this situation, and he comes to Jesus in faith, and it's all going well. He's done the right thing. He's got a situation. He gets up, he goes to Jesus, he gets in front of Jesus, he has a one-to-one interaction with Jesus. Jesus starts going with him, and then the next little set of verses, there's an interruption. A woman who's been suffering other physical pains interrupts Jesus' walk to Jairus' house. And we pick up the story in verse 35. While Jesus was still speaking, some men came from the house of Jairus, the synagogue ruler. Your daughter is dead, they said. Why bother the teacher anymore? Verse 36, let's read it together. Ignoring what they said, Jesus told the synagogue ruler, don't be afraid, just believe. Can you imagine you're Jairus? You're doing everything right. You're going to God. You're presenting yourself to God. You're presenting your needs to God. And God starts walking with you, and you get some positive action. You feel God's presence. It's going to happen. The healer is with me. And then all of a sudden, the music stops dramatically. Your process is interrupted. There's a delay. Your worst fears set in. Oh my goodness, my daughter's dying. If he spends any more time with this woman, then my daughter's not going to be healed and live. And then his worst fears are confirmed. And then you hear these two voices. One says, why bother? The other says, don't be afraid, just believe. Some of you feel right now that God is sidetracked in your life somehow. That he's got you in the midst of a process, and that, it was looking good initially, or you decided to move toward God's plan, and it's taken a little longer, and then your fear is saying, you know what, this is going a little too long. I'm not seeing some of the results I'd like to be seeing. I don't have any tangible evidence that God is still with me and wants to help me and that he's for me. And you start believing like Jairus, and then the other voices come in and say, you know what, why continue anymore with that? And then Jesus says, right now, today, to you, in the midst of your panic and fear over whether or not you're going to make it to the place of his purpose and that destination he's delivering you to by faith, he says, don't be afraid, just believe. And so that's where we are, men, in part 2. To see more or get answers to other questions you have, check out our Media Vault at everymanministries.com.